Maneater is an action RPG game developed and published by Tripwire Interactive and released in 2020. In Maneater, you play as a bull shark, swim around, and attack and eat fish. The game plays out similarly to other shark games, such as Jaws Unleashed and Hungry Shark, but in a more fleshed out 3D environment with a more unique skill set. I heard that Maneater was a cool shark game, but apparently it was super buggy and ran slow on release. I downloaded the game when it became free on PlayStation Plus, and was excited to dive into the depths of the game. But after playing, my hopes and dreams of an entertaining time were quickly jettisoned. The story is centered around a young shark whose mother was killed by a dastardly fisherman. You play as this shark who seeks revenge and has to survive amongst the deadly water dwellers and other anglers looking for a big catch. As you play through the game, you can level up your shark and gain new abilities to cause more havoc to bring out the tougher fishermen that are hunting you, possibly eventually reuniting with Scaly Pete, the shark hunter who killed your mother. The story is told in two different fashions. Scaly Pete's cutscenes of the game are played out like a documentary-styled fishing TV show, and while playing the game, there is a narrator that provides the player with funny quips and facts about sharks and the world you are swimming in.
Free from the meddling of censorious busybodies.
The story is decent and structures the purpose of playing the game, but all of the dialogue is annoying. Scaly Pete is obnoxious, and they tried to humble him a bit throughout the game to layer the narrative, which is appreciated, but it still runs a little too thin to make a significant difference. The narrator that talks during the game talks way too much, and I feel like it would be more fun to be swimming in this world, munching and crunching on fish, and finding Easter eggs without him yammering on about pointless things. This made actually going through the game a frustrating experience. The shark can attack by biting and swinging its tail to perform a tail whip. You have an assigned sprint button which makes you swim faster, and you can dodge in different directions. You can charge into enemies head on, and you can also jump out of the water to bypass obstacles or to grab floating collectibles. Different sea life like turtles and barracudas provide separate nutrients like proteins and fats. After collecting enough, you can swim to a grotto to level up. You can gain new abilities like being able to jump multiple times out of the water or making your bite stronger. Leveling up also increases the size of the shark, which in turn allows you to fight larger enemies more easily. Humans and boats with non-violent occupants are around the world, and you can attack them to increase your bounty. The higher your bounty, the more fishermen will come and attack you, which could get pretty hectic at times. There are certain hunters and apex predators in the world that act as bosses that you can try to take on that grant you with different rewards, such as new skins and powers to equip your shark. The game is open world, but you won't be able to fully explore it without leveling up and taking down level-based crates that lead into other areas. The vision of the game is cool and the gameplay loop is simple, but overall, it's just pretty okay. Once the game gets boring, it gets boring, which it does kind of quick. It is fun to eat other fish, and the sounds of devouring match the heavy violent gameplay, but it gets boring when that's the only thing you really do. There are other things you can do, but since you are a shark, it's all tied to you swimming and biting, so you never really feel a sense of freedom when you are constantly performing the same actions. Even the progression is tied to what you eat, since you have to level up to go to the next area and eat some more. I mean, I guess since you are playing a shark game, it makes sense. It's not like I was expecting the shark to walk up on land and start dancing or anything, but regardless, the game is repetitive and can get boring. The map is confusing at first because it is flooded with icons and objectives. All of the icons and how to progress is kind of weird, but ignoring it and just playing the game helped me make sense of it. The areas don't really get very interesting since you are underwater the entire time. There are some green bog areas and some water areas that open up a bit in depth, but it all feels and looks undistinguishable. There are sewer-like pipe areas you can travel through, and they are always perplexing because it all looks the same. Controlling the shark is a nuisance too, especially the more you level up because you get bigger, and that's less of the screen you have to work with. Attacking and performing actions is exhausting because you either can't keep up with the rapid actions of the fights or your button presses don't register. I had a problem with the shark not sprinting or swimming fast at times, which was irritating.
Emulsifex. Therefore, Hibbard made money on the cleanup.
The music is pretty typical, which is expected, but is dull and doesn't excite or convey anything of worth. It sounds like the archetypal run-of-the-mill background music. Scaly Pete usually has a bluegrass instrumental theme playing whenever he is on screen. While playing, the music is usually soft and uninteresting, and in combat, the music rockets into something more boastful and dangerous. The main menu theme is just weird. It's practically just sounds that I guess could provide some sense of foreboding, but you'll be in the game before you even hear anything. Maneater is only for people who love sharks. The story may give you a sense of redemption, but it is straightforward and unexciting. Gameplay is tiresome, with the player almost being punished for progression by making it harder to see things on screen because the shark is larger and messy controls in general. There is never any sense of accomplishment or progress since you'll be looking at the same thing the entire game. Uninteresting areas are also upsetting for a game that is centered around being in the water for most of the time. While some combat encounters can play out pretty cool and it's fun eating other fish, it gets ruined through the repetitiveness of it. Maneater is a neat game for what it is, but if it was executed in a different way, my experience would have gone more swimmingly. I give Maneater a 2 out of 10.